Hey folks, welcome in to my live stream today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're talking today, what do you need to do to get started in voiceover? The number one question I get asked every single day. Let's talk about it. All right, welcome in everyone. I had to go back in the crates and get that old intro. I love that intro. There's another one I have I'll probably be using from time to time from back in the day. But look, I want to welcome everyone into this. If you are a voiceover artist, want to become a voiceover artist, you've been a voiceover artist for a minute, but you're stuck struggling, just not growing fast enough and need to get the information so that you can go ahead and start getting this thing done. All of those that are coming in right now, watching me live, thank you so much for that. Go ahead and shoot me a comment so I can acknowledge that you are in here. Look, this is the number one question I get asked all the time. How do I get started in voiceover? And I get asked this from people that aren't even in yet, but I also get asked this question from people that are already in a voiceover, kind of trying to get work, doing some work here and there. And if you read the description that I have put in already for this show, you kind of see it is not that hard to just get started. And the thing about it is the getting started part is actually the hardest part. And then after that, the hardest part is getting work. So let's address those two things like in this show today, because I think this is vitally important. You know, when I started in this coaching space, I guess almost a decade ago now, the same question is still being asked even up into today, which lets me know that so many people are interested in this career field. So many people are wondering, how do they actually get going? How do they actually get started in this thing? And how do they grow it to a point where they can end their side hustle, right? And actually start making a living doing voiceover. I've trained hundreds of VOs. You know, if you look at my YouTube channel, over 13,000 subscribers to the channel, there are a lot of people that in one way, shape, or form have gotten a lot of information from this channel in order to understand how to get started. So let's even just start with the basics, right? It doesn't take that much to get started. If you've got anywhere from $600 to $1,000 to put into this, to just get the appropriate gear. And I think that's one of the biggest hurdles. You know, so many people want to start out with cheaper equipment, which actually you can do. I mean, I remember back in the day, I started off with like a $50 USB microphone. But obviously, if you're going to do this seriously, not just as some sort of hobby where you get a job here and there from people that don't really care about the audio production or the quality or things of that nature, that's one thing. But I want to literally talk to you about how to go from zero to hero, you know, from novice to pro in pretty quick order. Because literally in about, I would say, 3 months, you can dig in and start doing some serious voiceover work at a very high level. Because all you're going to need, again, an appropriate microphone. You know, let's just skip over the USB mics, right? To go right to the Pro Gear, which is an XLR mic. And even in the description, I have a link to a page we can go and see some of the suggested items even that I have, the items that I've used, especially early on to get started. Hey, good morning, Gerald. Glad to see you in here, my friend. Thank you so much for being here with us. But you can see a lot of the things that I've already used in the beginning and even up until now, the things that I use to continue and go on with my voiceover career. So you've got to have a microphone. You've got to have an audio interface. You've got to have, well, a mic stand. You've got to have, maybe in some cases, a pop filter. In many cases, you're going to need to make sure that you have an appropriate DAW. Now, I know that many people use Audacity, which is a free DAW that's out there. And many people spend their entire career on Audacity, which is no big deal. I happen to be a very fond user, daily user of Adobe Audition because of the functionality that it gives me. And it does so many different things that a free software just is not going to provide for you. I think one of the main things that I love about Adobe Audition, I've been using Adobe Audition back before it was called Adobe Audition, back in the earlier mid 2000s. I forget what it was called back then, but I've been using it since then. One of the major things that I love about Adobe Audition, just for you that are interested in a DAW, I mean, it is a subscription service. I think it costs about $20 a month to have that, but you get all the updates as soon as they come out. You don't have to buy it again, all that stuff. You get everything right away. One of the updates that came out a few years ago, I think this was around 2016, 2017. And you know how normally, I mean, if you've been in voiceover for a while, you've laid down your voice and you've put music underneath of your voice. And what happens is so many of us, we just cut it off. You know, we just stretch out that audio. We make sure it ends at the appropriate time at the end of our voiceover. And then we just kind of fade that music out. Well, one of the things that Adobe Audition has, I love this, is that it allows you to bring in that audio track to put it underneath of, to put it underneath of your voice, and you can remix that audio track. If it's just audio, no words in your music, just music, no words, you can remix it to be the exact length you want it to be. And it starts and ends like it's a brand new song. It remixes the whole song so that it ends appropriately. That was one of the big things that I love about Adobe Audition and the things that it does with that. And so then when you get into, what's the next thing you need to do? Well, obviously you've got to learn voiceover, right? You've got to learn script interpretation. It's one thing to have good gear, but if you're not good at your craft, the gear doesn't even matter, right? So yes, you need the good gear, but then you have to practice your craft and practice your skill set and get better and better at what it is that you want to do. And there's great places that you can really get some good experience and even jobs based on your ability to do certain things, and especially like on Fiverr. Love Fiverr, especially for the newbie that doesn't really know how to do the marketing end of this or sales and marketing, which I do teach that as well. But when you're first getting into something, good morning, Joey Lou. Glad to have you in here. Thank you so much for being here with us. You can get on Fiverr, you can set up your gig. It's like super simple, right? Now, don't get jaded and twisted. I remember back in around 2008, when I first got involved in voiceover, I thought I was just going to get on voices.com. I was going to do my auditions and I was just going to blow up, right? I was just going to make a ton of money. Well, if you've been in for as long as I have, you know that doesn't happen. And so it doesn't happen on Fiverr either. But you have so many different options and tools that you can use when you're on Fiverr, especially as a newbie, to get good at your craft and even potentially get paid for what it is that you do. Now, audio production is a thing, and it's so funny. I remember back in 2015, I was saying this thing about the home studio is the new future of voiceover. And believe it or not, people laughed at me when I said that. They thought I was crazy because I was saying the home studio was the future of voiceover. And look at us today in 2021. It is absolutely true. So you have to become a really good audio engineer. Now, audio and the word engineer may sound kind of intimidating, but all we're talking about is editing your audio, putting the appropriate plugins, understanding how to do EQ and all of those things. It's the whole reason why, the site Steps to Voiceover Success, I think the link is right there. You see it on screen. Just the whole reason Steps to VoiceOverSuccess.com is there so that you can get that beginner level knowledge of what's there and even go to an advanced level of really how to get into creating some amazing audio depending on the type of voiceover that you're doing. What's up, Aisha? Glad to have you here from Trinidad over on Facebook. Gerald and Joey are over on YouTube. I'm broadcasting on several places right at the same time. So I want to thank everybody for coming in for that. But here's the thing. Steps to VoiceOverSuccess.com. I'm going to be launching something new in April that is just going to blow everyone's mind. So I want you to make sure that you're here every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's when I go live on this channel or wherever you're watching me. I'm on every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you're able to catch me. And you can even feel free, like even if you're in here now, what is your most pressing question that you have right now? Yeah, I'll take your questions on these live calls. It's not just to me sit here and be a talking head or whatever in this whole thing, but also to make sure that I'm able to answer your questions so that you benefit from the knowledge that I actually do have, which is quite extensive and quite a lot. I've been in the space for a long time, as I said, since 2008. Been doing voiceover even prior to that, especially when I first got involved with internet radio, podcasting, and things of that nature. So feel free when you're in here on these live streams to ask me questions. And also, even if you're watching after the fact, like you didn't catch the live, but you're catching the replay of this, feel free to type in your comments with your questions because I'm definitely going to answer those for you. All right. Whether it's directly back or whether I create another video or talk about it on the next live stream or whatever, I want to make sure that you get the answers to the questions that you need answered. Right. That's important to me. Aisha says, my question is, what is the best DAW would you recommend for beginners in audio production? Well, there is no quote unquote beginner DAW, Aisha, and thank you so much for that question. There is no literal beginner DAW, right? Unless you're using something like a wave pad, which I don't recommend. When you're talking about getting into voiceover, you can start off with the free DAW, like I said, that is called Audacity. And you can just do a Google search for Audacity download and you'll be able to get Audacity. I suggest, just because I love it so much, Adobe Audition, and because I can do a lot of teaching and training from that perspective. But people ask the question, what is the best DAW to use? The best DAW to use is the one you know and understand, period. So the one like I started with, like I said, Adobe Audition, and I forget what it was called before. It was called Adobe Audition, but I've been using it since then. So we're talking about going on 2 decades now that I've been using this DAW, so I know it inside and out. There are people that use other ones like Reaper or Audacity. There's a bunch of different DAWs that are out there that voiceover artists use. And I draw back from saying what's the best, right? Because the best one is the one that serves you the best. The best one is the one that you know and are learning inside and out because you're going to be able to use that and have a really decent workflow and begin to become very, very quick at using that DAW. So don't spend too much time worrying about that, but I love Adobe Audition. So there's my plug for that. Hey, good morning, Mark. Mark is saying, I've seen this answer vary from site to site. So demos have music or not? And you know what, Mark, you're going to see it vary from site to site. I can think of like one of my best students I've ever had, which most of you or a lot of you know, Anthony Pica. I remember there was a time Anthony was doing a lot of stuff with putting music and then he stopped. He just used his voice because he's able to create amazing audio and people are interested in your voice. Some people, you know, and it comes down to personal preference. And I'll get into sales and marketing here a little bit because when you're looking at the type of people that you're going to attract in, you're going to attract in people that are like you. And so being authentically who you are and doing things authentically the way that you would do them is the way to attract in your clientele. You cannot market or attract any and everyone, but there is a specific set of people that you will always attract. And those are people that are going to be like you. In some way, shape, or form, there's a connection that's there. It's like having over 13,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. In some way, shape, or form, I've connected with some sector of people that for whatever reason are attracted to how I present and how I do things. But I don't attempt to attract anyone. All I do is is to be me. That's it. Because no one can ever beat me being me, just like no one can ever beat you being you. So never try and be something that you're not, or do something that someone else is doing because you want to maybe try and be like them. Sometimes that makes sense, you know, depending on whatever. But the number one thing you want to make sure that you are is you at all times. So if you're more comfortable putting music behind and you think it sounds better, and that's really what you believe, do that. If you believe that, hey, I just want to lay down my voice so people can hear my amazing sound, do that. Because it's not a thing about which one is best or which one is required. It's the thing that is going to put you in the best light, period. So I hope that answers your question. Aisha is saying, I currently use Audacity, but persons in the field tell me that if I'm serious about the craft, I should graduate from Audacity. So I'm a bit confused. Okay, Aisha, that gets in a little bit of the elitism that is rampant in our industry of people, you're more than welcome, Mark, of people thinking if you don't do it this way, you're not really a VO. I remember, and I don't even know if this is still going on. Have you guys been around long enough to remember when VOs were saying that if you're on Fiverr, you're not a serious VO? Do you remember that BS? I do. People were saying that if you were on a site like Fiverr, you were not a serious VO. It's crazy, especially when you've got people like me, especially people like Anthony Pica that are making tens of thousands of dollars every month on Fiverr alone, being a professional VO. It's not about where you are or the platform. It is about the product that you produce, because Fiverr is only a place to do business. It has nothing to do with whether you're a professional or not. It is a place to go and make money. So when you talk about graduating from Audacity, Aisha, there are VOs that never, quote unquote, graduate from Audacity. I just like Adobe Audition because of the functionality, just like someone else that uses Reaper because they really understand it and can dig into that, or Pro Tools or whatever. They've just dug into it for so long and they develop an affinity for it. They love the workflow and they do it. I've never been a user of Audacity. I've used it, but I've never been a quote unquote user. Even at stufftovoiceoversuccess.com, I even did a training on how to use Audacity. How to use Audacity to edit your audio. So that's there. But again, don't let that be a stumbling block for you at all when it comes down to what DAW you use. Pick one, learn it inside and out. If you know you're going to be doing heavy things, you want to get very serious and go into this, start with one of the bigger packages like Adobe Audition, because again, it's only $20 a month to have that. And if you start digging in, because here's the thing, if you dig into, let's just say, Adobe Audition, and you dig in, and you learn it, and then someone says, well, you should probably be using Reaper. Now you got to go learn Reaper, and your workflow is going to slow down because someone told you you've got to go learn Reaper. Pick one, go with it. They're all pretty much the same, just a little bit of different functionality. The paid options obviously are going to be a little bit more in depth. They're going to be, it's going to be a different experience. But again, some people use Audacity and never change. So I hope that answers your question, even though I was kind of a roundabout back and forth with it. All right. Any other questions? Now, and go ahead. Feel free to pop in your questions if you have them as well. What I would love for you to do, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button right now. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that like button for me right now. Hit that heart, hit that like. It helps the channel, and it helps other people that aren't in but are subscribed see that this has been a powerful video, and they'll come and watch. So if you please hit the heart, like, subscribe button for me right now, wherever you are. And I thank you so much. So now when we're continuing to move on and talk about how to start, build, and grow a successful voiceover business, some people believe that voiceover is easier than it is. Because once you realize it's more than just getting a microphone and talking into that microphone, that you actually have to understand how to treat your room. And I'm going to say this, and I've said this so many times over the years. I don't care if you have a Norman TLM 103 or a Sennheiser MKH 416. These are like $1,000 microphones, right? I've had both. I don't care if you have a $1,000 microphone. If you're recording in an untreated space or just in an open room, that mic is going to sound like doo-doo, no matter what. And you can have a much less expensive mic, have it in a treated room, and it sounds like the bomb. I guess I dated myself just now by saying the bomb. All right. So... But anyway, so let's talk about a treated room. If you go back and look at some of my old videos, what you'll notice is I have all around me just blankets, or not quilts. What is the big, thick blankets? I don't know. Yeah, bedspreads or whatever, the thick ones, basically, that you put on your bed. So I have a bunch of them around me and over me. You don't normally see the ones that are over me, but you always see the ones that are behind me because they were behind me back when I lived in Wisconsin and when I got started years and years and years ago. Now I live in North Carolina. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Just moved here last year. All right. So, and I'll get into audio faces in just a minute, GM. Thanks for that question. I'm definitely going to get into that. All right. So, the reason for a treated space, especially for the newbie that thinks they can just record in an open room, you can't. Have you ever like bought a new, rented a new apartment or bought a new home and you walk in and you're talking and there's all this echo, right? There's all this echo going on. That echo is there because your sound waves from your voice are bouncing off of the hard surfaces that are in that space. So if you're recording in a space that has nothing but hard surfaces, the way that you treat that space is by surrounding yourself with soft surfaces that will actually pull in that echo and won't let that echo occur, and it won't let your voice, those waves, sound waves, bounce. They get trapped. So they don't go back and boom, 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 back into the microphone like you would hear when you walk into a brand new empty apartment. And then you notice when you move into an empty apartment and you put furniture in, all of a sudden that echo's gone. Mostly because you've got all these soft surfaces, couches and sofas and chairs and and that echo goes away. So the principle you want to understand is how to diminish or eliminate that reverberation back into your microphone because your voice is bouncing off of hard surfaces. And the way that easily anyone can do that, I don't care if you do it in a closet or whatever, is just surround yourself with soft surfaces. That's why a lot of times you see VOs recording inside of a walk-in closet because they have all those clothes in there. Now, the thing about that is that may be good, but if you still hear an echo, you need to put some more treatment. You need to hang some blankets or get some of those, black squares that you see in different studios and stuff like that, and kind of build that out. And so that's how you do that. Because if you don't have a treated space, an appropriate space to record in, I don't care what kind of mic you have. It's not going to sound good, right? All right, so here's the other thing. All right, GM is saying, good morning. Thank you for your live stream. I'm extremely new to voiceover. What's the best way to compare microphones? What are the basic requirements to a suitable mic? All right, here's the thing. You can't really compare a mic unless you go into a place like Guitar Center and they let you, right? That's pretty much it. Do not stress out over that. Spend anywhere from around $300 to $1,000. Just make that a benchmark. You're going to have an appropriate mic. You want to make sure you go ahead and probably get a condenser microphone. There's a difference between a condenser and an XLR. A condenser microphone, you need to have an audio interface with 48 volts of phantom power. That's how that microphone is powered. So that's why you also need an interface, and we'll get into that in just a minute. Do not stress out over the mic. Just make sure you get a good condenser microphone, period. Now, when you talk about an interface, I love this, and you can go to the link that's in the description for this video where you can actually see some interfaces that I suggest. One of them is the Focusrite Solo. I actually still have one. From time to time, I use it. There anywhere you can get a good interface, either Scarlett Write Solo or what's the other one? Actually, I just bought another one. Actually, it'll be here today, and I'll be talking about that maybe next week. I forget the one I bought because my Solo is still in Wisconsin in storage and I have to go get it, and I'm in North Carolina, and it's like, well, I don't want to go back right now, so let me just get something else. So you can get a good interface right around the $100 mark for an interface that will be amazing. So you don't even have to stress out about that. But I love, and so many of us in VO love, the Focusrite products, the Scarlett Solo. A lot of people have the Scarlett 2i2. That has 2 mic inputs, but I only need 1. Who needs more than that, right? So I got the Solo because I just have 1 mic that I use when I do VO. I'm not all over the board with that. So from your recording space to your microphone to your interface, these are all great questions, by the way. And thank you so much for asking those questions. Did everybody hit the like? Did everybody hit the thumbs up? Did everybody hit the heart? Did everybody subscribe, right? Please make sure that you do that. And share. By all means, share this out anywhere that you would like to, even in this moment. Any other questions coming in? We've been on, we've been on for 24 minutes. So this is amazing. And you guys have had some great questions that you have asked during this session. So definitely love that. GM, you are more than welcome. Well, look, I want to thank everybody for coming into this live stream. with me today, and all of those that will be watching the replay of this as well. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel on YouTube, or if you're on Facebook, I have links in the description. We've got a free voiceover group mastermind that we're doing. You want to make sure that you join that. The link is in the description. Steps to voiceoversuccess.com. Oh, yeah. Follow me on YouTube, and you can follow me on Instagram as well. Just started that Instagram channel brand new. So would love it if you follow me over there on Instagram at Voiceover Business Development as well. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Make sure you leave me a comment as well after the fact and ask any questions that you would like answered. You guys are amazing. Love you so much. Best of luck to you. I'm going to be here to support you as much as I can in starting, building, and growing your voiceover business. I'll see you on the next one.